discuss about examples. We're going to see some example about the previous videos that we see. Now in this example, we will see the previous party that we have seen. Let's say, for example, we have 36x squared plus 24x y plus 29y squared minus 72x plus 126y plus 81 equals 0. First of all, we have to determine the value of a. As we know, the value of a here is going to be 36. The value of b here is going to be 29, because the coefficient of the x squared, the coefficient of the y squared. Now the value of c, as we see, the constants, which is 81. Now we will have 81 here. Now if we come to determine the value of h, we know that 2h equal the value of the constant of xy. So I'm going to have 2h equal 24. It means that h equal 24 divided by 2, means that 12. Now to determine the value, we know that 2g is the constant of x is going to be equal minus 72. So it means that g is going to be equal minus 36. If we come to 2f, we know that 2f is the coefficient of y is going to be equal 126. Means that our f is going to be 62. Now after determining all the parameter, all the constants, now what was the question? Was the first question, let's say for example the question is told us to determine the identify the curve. Let's identify the curve first. And we know if we want to identify the curve, first of all we have to determine the value of the delta. What was the value of delta? A, H, G, and H, B, F, and G, F, C. What is the formula to how to determine the value of delta? Now let me replace the value. If I want to replace the value of A, as I determine here, I will have 36. The value of H, I will have 12. I will have minus 36, and then I will have 12 here. Then I will have B 29 and the F 62. I will have the value of G, which is equal minus 36, the value of F, which is equal 62, and the value of C, which is equal 81. Now I can determine the delta. How? By using the calculator, I can directly determine the value. I can directly determine the delta by using the calculator. If I don't use the calculator, you want to use I have plus here, minus here, plus here. So if I close this column and this row, I will have 36. So it's going to be 36. This one I close, this one I close, only this one remains. 29 multiplied by 81 minus 62 multiplied by 62, because I will have 29 multiplied by 81 minus 62 multiplied by 62 minus, because I have this minus 12. Now I cross this one, the intersection is 12. If I cross this one, it will remain 12 multiplied by 81, 12 multiplied by 81 minus 62 multiplied by this one was minus 36, and this minus become plus. It's going to be 36 plus, since here it is plus, it's going to be plus, and this minus is going to be equal is going to be minus. It's going to give us minus. So I will have minus. I'll have minus 36. I close this column in this row. What am I to 12 multiplied by 62 minus 29 multiplied by this minus and the minus from the formula become plus 36. So I'll determine the value of delta. Now if I determine the value of delta, if my delta equals 0, if I found the delta is equal 0, directly the curve I know is pair of straight line. Now, but if delta is different of 0, now I know that it's not pair of straight line. So then it is what I have to determine the value of, if delta is equal not pair of straight line. It's not pair of straight line. Okay. Now, if not pair of straight line, what's the curve is what? Is it ellipse? Is it parabola? Is it hyperbola? Now we know to determine. Let's compare h square. H square is going to be equal 12 square, which equal 144. Let's compare AB. AB is going to be equal 36 multiplied by 29. Now if I put in the calculator, I will have 36 multiplied by 29 is going to be 1044. Now I will have 1044. Now let's compare. I will see that h square is less than AB. Now if h square is less than AB, directly we know what's this? It is ellipse. Now it is ellipse. Now we already determined the curve. The curve we identify. But when we compare h square is greater than AB, we'll determine it should be a hyperbola. Now if the second question asks to determine the equation will come to determine our equation for the ellipse. What was the equation? Our equation was 36 square plus going to be plus 29 y square is going to be equal is going to be equal. So now let's see, it's going to be equal due to the formula which was equal 72x minus 126y minus 24xy minus 81 is going to be equal 0. Now as we see in the previous video, this one can bring to 6. It can bring it to 6x plus. Now this one I can bring what? I can bring it to square root of 29. Why? Because if I bring it to square root 29y, I put it in square. If I bring this one, it's going to be, I want to develop this one, it's going to be 6x squared. I will have this one. I will have this one, 36x squared. Now if I multiply this one, I will have square root to square is going to be 29. Y square is going to be y is going to be y square. So I'll have 29y square. Now here, these two multiplied by this one, I'm going to subtract here. How? I will have 72x minus 126 minus 126 y minus 24 xy minus 8y minus 2 multiplied by 6x multiplied by square root of 29y. So in this case, I will continue this process from this equation again, and I found the equation as we did in the hyperbola. I request to go in the previous video in the parabola. I request to go in the previous video, you will better understand it for this part. Now, if the first equation, if the second equation was, let's determine to remove the x, remove x and y, remove x and y. If now the equations tell us to remove x and y, as we see, if the question come to remove x and y, mean that this one is going to be translation. Translation is going to be translation, as we see in the previous video, first video. It's going to be translation. Now, if it is translation, what was the equation? The equation I have to determine, I already determined the value of a, b, c, g. I know the value of g, f. Now, the h. If it is translation, I have to determine the coordinate of the origin, new origin, and I know it is equal hf minus bg ab minus h square. Now I already beta, after to determine beta, I will have hg minus af by ab minus h square. Now if I determine, I know the value of h, I know the value of f, I know the value of b, all I know of the value, I can directly determine the value of alpha and beta. Mean that if I determine the value of alpha and beta, now I know, because I know that, I know directly that x, we used to have the value of x, capital X plus alpha, the y, capital Y plus beta, as we see in the previous video. Now, and when you determine the alpha, you determine beta, you have this one. You can directly put in the equation to determine the new equation. The new equation will come directly a capital X plus b capital Y square plus 2h capital X capital Y plus g alpha plus f beta plus c equals 0. Now I have this equation, because the value of a I know, the value of b I know, h same, g alpha I calculate, f beta I calculate, I found this equation. If another equation come to remove xy, mean that I want to remove this xy, in that case I'm going to use rotation, as we see before, and we know if it is rotation, I have to determine the angle, because in rotation we know that in rotation the equation is going to be the equation of transformation. The equation of transformation is going to be x is going to be x cos theta minus y sin theta x sin theta plus y cos theta. Now this one, if some question can be determine the equation of transformation, mean that this one for rotation, equation of transformation for translation, this one capital X plus alpha, same as the y plus beta, as we did in the previous one. Now how to determine the value of the angle? We see tan theta 1 minus tan theta square is going to be 2h a minus b. I have all this value directly determined from here. Now if most of the case, if you come from here, let's say for example I found let's say for example I found equal, let's say 3. In this case I will I will use this as this one. 3 multiplied by this one equal this one. So I will find equation of x squared plus bx plus c. I found a polynomial. When I found a polynomial, my x is going to be the tan. So you will find two value of tan, and you replace here, replace here, replace here, replace here. You will find another equation. And with the other value of tan of the angle, you replace, you found another equation. I hope everyone understand and can solve the problems that's there, that's in the book. The solution will be uploaded in the comment.